So far, we've reviewed marketing levers and challenges with marketing data overall. Now, we'll review different analysis approaches, starting with text analysis. As marketing analysts, we need to analyze text as part of channel performance. Text analytics is not just analysis that involves text, it is taking unstructured text and translating it into quantitative insights. If we think about various channels, text is included in the majority of marketing ads, either spoken or written. Paid search ads are the most common example. Most ads are entirely text-based. Social media also contains text in ads, as well as in comments. Even radio and TV can have text in ads, with voiceovers or messages. Text analytics can be limited to a single channel, span multiple channels in a campaign, or include the entire marketing program. Let's start with paid search, since that is the most common form of text analytics. Paid search ads rely on the terms users type into search engines, called keywords. Marketers pay to have ads appear when someone searches for a keyword. Keywords fall into two main buckets: branded, meaning with a brand name, or non-branded, meaning no brand name is mentioned. For example, if our brand was Coca-Cola, new Coke flavors is a branded keyword, but 12-pack of soda is a non-branded keyword. Because many brands compete for non-branded keywords, this makes them more expensive generally. Branded keywords are less expensive, but their volume is tied to how well known the brand is. Marketing analysts need to keep these nuances in mind as they analyze paid search data. Another factor to consider when analyzing paid search keywords is that marketers set targets to keep costs from becoming too high. It is not enough for analysts to analyze cost by branded and non-branded keywords. They must compare to cost per click targets. Cost per click, or CPC, is basically taking the average of all keyword costs divided by all keyword clicks. Once we learn the targets for paid search, we can evaluate dimensions to see when we paid more or less than our target. In this chart, we can see that LATAM, short for Latin America, keywords are usually below target, while keywords in EMEA regions, or Europe, Middle East, and Africa, are above CPC target. Analysts should monitor CPC trends to make sure that costs are not increasing over time and hurting overall channel performance. Marketers would like to see text analysis that is cross-channel, which has a larger impact since it can cover the entire marketing program. Analysts can manually classify data if it is a relatively small dataset. However, for larger data, we need to consider natural language processing, or NLP. NLP is using computer programs to make sense of language as it is spoken and written. This means NLP can work with spoken ads, like in radio, and find similar categories with paid search ads. Eventually, analysts could compare text by theme, agnostic of spelling mistakes and language differences across all channels. Time to try out paid search analysis concepts. In the last lesson, we alluded to social media comments being a source of text for analysis. The type of text analysis most commonly performed on social media data is called sentiment analysis. Analysts can often find social media data overwhelming. It spans many platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But it also can be noisy without the right analysis techniques. One way of monitoring social media health is via sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is a technique to assess if data is positive, negative, or neutral. For example, great service sounds like positive sentiment, while horrible service sounds overwhelmingly negative. As we can imagine, sentiment analysis can be subjective, which makes it complex. Brands want to be able to monitor sentiment across different social media platforms in real time. One of the reasons that sentiment analysis can be difficult to scale is that context is very important. If someone uses the term "well done" while congratulating a competitor at a sporting event, it is very different from asking for a well-done steak at a restaurant. Another complicating factor is that sentiment can be expanded beyond positive, negative, neutral to emotions like angry, happy, or sad. Sentiment can even include timing aspects like urgent versus non-urgent. When we add in the social media elements of emojis or sarcasm, sentiment analysis can become unwieldy for analysts to apply at scale. Fear not, marketing analysts. There are multiple ways to approach sentiment analysis depending on the scenario. The two main options are either manually create rules and apply them, or use NLP modeling to automatically determine sentiment. NLP can take words that are commonly associated with sentiment and classify for us. Fortunately, there's no one right modeling approach. Analysts should evaluate the level of complexity and size of the data first. Automatic sentiment analysis works best with large datasets containing multiple languages. Manual rules are easier to interpret, but are harder to scale beyond a small dataset. Some analysts may find that a hybrid approach works best, where they use manual at first, especially if there are rules specific to our business, to train an NLP model later. At this point, we may be thinking, NLP seems to have a lot of benefits, but how do we get started? Luckily, many marketing tools offer some type of natural language processing. One option is to use an out-of-the-box model that assigns sentiment for data within that social media platform. Another option is to build an in-house NLP model. For analysts that are new to NLP, an out-of-the-box model is a great starting place. If an analyst is knowledgeable about NLP modeling, training a custom model will be more flexible over time. The last factor analysts should consider is reporting needs. These can influence how much time to invest in maintaining a model. Let's practice some sentiment analysis. Text and sentiment analysis can be applied to almost any channel, but there are specific channels they are more aligned with. Audience segmentation, on the other hand, applies to all channels at one point or another. There is a saying in marketing, one-size-fits-all advertising delivers one-size-fits-all results. Marketers can tailor advertising via audience segmentation. Segmentation essentially means identifying groups within a larger audience to deliver tailored marketing. Marketers strive to create relevant messages for each segment, and making a message relevant is much easier with segments versus the entire customer base. Marketing analysts are key to the segmentation process and use analysis to create data-driven segments where possible. There are many data sources to draw from for audience segmentation purposes. One common source is demographic data, which includes attributes like age, location, and gender. Psychographic data enables segments by customer lifestyle, opinions, and values like enjoys working out. Behavioral data is a very rich source of data for audience segmentation. Analysts can separate customers that engage with ads or people that abandon the shopping cart during checkout, for example. A common pitfall is designing segments that are too granular to be actionable for marketers. A segment that is age 36.5, lives in a specific postal code, and has tried to purchase in the last 3 days is too specific for marketers to use in most cases. Let's say that we want to create segments based on a marketing KPI, such as conversion rate. Conversion rate is the ratio of customers who complete a goal out of all customers. The problem here is that we don't know which attributes explain the conversion rate behavior. In this scenario, we should use a classification modeling approach called cluster analysis. Cluster models optimize based on how similar data is within the same group, called a cluster, and how different data is between groups. Cluster models will automatically group data into segments, but analysts must determine how many segments are needed. After this step, we can look at common attributes of each cluster. Did everyone in one cluster engage with LinkedIn or business podcast ads, indicating interest in products for business use? Did everyone in another cluster use Snapchat or visit product pages for families? This could indicate a cluster aligning with personal products. The cluster attributes can then be applied to marketer tools. Once segments are defined, marketers can repurpose segment definitions in their campaign planning and execution. Remember how DSPs, demand-side platforms, and DMPs, data management platforms, manage segment definitions across marketing channels? Having standardized audience segments in those tools enables tactics like retargeting and lookalike modeling. Retargeting shows ads to target audiences based on behavioral data. Every time we get an email asking, "Did you forget something in your cart?" that is a form of retargeting. Lookalike models use characteristics of segments to show ads to larger segments with similar characteristics. One example could be seeing Adidas ads after purchasing Nike in the past. Analysts can compare the performance of these tactics to see if they outperform normal ads for the same segment. Now we can practice audience segmentation for ourselves. Now that we've talked about different advanced analytics methods, let's talk about analysis options for campaigns that include many different channels, also include integrated marketing. Integrated marketing basically means a campaign with multiple marketing channels working together. This could be a campaign driving customer awareness through TV, radio, and paid search advertising. Or it could be a product release campaign, including podcast ads, sponsored blog posts, and social media messaging. Marketing analysts are vital to the success of major campaigns like this. There are many measurement considerations with integrated marketing campaigns because they tend to be more expensive and complex. High-expense campaigns set targets for each channel during campaign planning before launch. Campaign planning also focuses on predictions because we can utilize data from previous campaigns to predict which channels and tactics could work best in a future campaign. During the campaign, marketing analysts monitor KPI pacing toward targets. Post-campaign activities usually focus on analyzing cross-channel trends and assessing ROI impact after the campaign ends. Let's break down some of the most common things marketers want to predict when planning an integrated marketing campaign. A common example could be, who should we be targeting in a discount campaign? As a marketing analyst, we can start by asking marketers if this campaign is targeting new or existing customers, specific geographies, an age group, or specific products. By leveraging the skills we learned in the previous lesson, we can segment our historical campaign data around categories based on the answers to those questions. Once we narrow down possible customer segments, then we can move on to our next question. Who is most likely to purchase when a discount offer exists in a campaign? To answer this question, we want to use a response model. Response models classify customers who will likely respond or purchase in an upcoming campaign. If we have historical data for groups of people where they did not receive a discount versus those who did receive a discount, we can build a predictive model to understand the change in response probability and recommend the group most likely to respond to a discount offer. Response models typically use statistical hypothesis test comparisons, validating if results are due to chance, or regression modeling, estimating the strength of the relationship between variables. Now that we know which audiences we think this campaign should target and which are most likely to respond to a discount, we can ask, what type of discount messaging will resonate with customers? If marketing analysts answer this question, they can advise marketers how to structure campaign messaging to further increase likelihood of purchasing. Does it matter more to have the greatest % discount, or special financing, or a limited time offer? By using a choice model, we can compare multiple offer attributes and rank them by purchase probability. To make sure we account for discount messaging options, we can use a regression model. Once we make our discount campaign recommendations, we may be asked to plan for the campaign to be executed as a test. In a perfect world, we could set up a simple A/B test, meaning a randomized experiment, and show different discounts randomly to different audiences. The reality is that running an integrated marketing campaign as an experiment is not always feasible or cost-effective. We can either recommend a randomized experiment or use causal inference, where statistical models are used to simulate the marketing campaign. Let's apply this new knowledge about integrated marketing analytics to a sample campaign plan.